Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Coloring Passports. I'm Rio, your host, and today we are going to be coloring the Dusky Dolphin out of the Dolphin book. I'm super excited about this one because I got a little crazy with the background in this because I wanted to play, and so I'm sitting here thinking about what I just put in the illusion of water splashes in the background. That's what this is. And so I'm wondering, oh my goodness, excuse me. So I'm wondering what it would be like if I colored the background like the water, but then, or maybe didn't color the background as water and just colored these in as just splashes. Maybe that would be fun, because the last one was pretty intense with doing the water as realistically as I could with colored pencils. So this one I really just want to play, and so I'm hoping to pull this off. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, even though this part of his body reads like white, it's really more, it has more of a yellow tint to it. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to grab my Prismacolors and I'm going to start with 20% warm gray. Now, if you're using the Hoo Hoo Heroes, you're just going to grab one of your grays that has a little more yellow in it. And I know that this curves around right here. I'm going to color super soft in little just egg shapes to try to not have any lines. And then if I can avoid the lines, I'm going to avoid the lines. You know, where it overlaps. I'm not coloring all the way to the edge, because right here on the edge, in between the edge and the line, it's going to be a brighter color. So I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's 5:30 a.m. where I am. Do you want to know where I am? Marathon, Florida, smack in the middle of the Keys. So I thought I would get up, do a coloring page with y'all, go get in a workout of some sort, whether that's walk or do some yoga on the dock. And then, depending on the wind today, maybe go take the boat out. So anywhere that I know that it's going to read white, I'm going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to switch to the lightest gray, lightest warm gray that I have. Actually, I'm going to switch to a cool gray. So I'm going to grab this lightest, it's cool gray 10%, which is, going to be your light gray. It's actually going to be called cool gray in your Hoo Hoo Heroes. Please don't stress out if I use colored pencils that aren't from the kits. This again is just for practice. It's just practice. We're all just practicing. I have never in my life illustrated a dusky dolphin, so it is what it is. Okay, so I've got that in there. I'm gonna come in here, put some of this cool gray in here, a little bit here. Start to build up that color just a little bit. And I know that this is a streak of beautiful color. These guys are really, really pretty dolphins. So I'm putting all the light color in first, just like I always do. Then we're gonna come back and have some fun with some other colors, because I, again, see almost every color of the rainbow in this dolphin. Okay. All right, so I know we've got a little bit of light back here on the bottom side of his tail. I'm gonna grab the 30% warm gray. Oh yeah. And I'm just gonna come in here and make sure that you are coloring with the direction of the pectoral fin. So I'm actually gonna make it curve up just a little bit. And I'm gonna stop just a bit short over here so I can see what I'm doing. But I'm not drawing a straight line, I'm drawing a little bit of an arc, just one right after another. And then as it comes down here, I'm gonna shift the direction. So I'm coloring again, diagonally, you know, against the structure of the pectoral fin. Now here in the back, it's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to come in and fill this in just a touch, very, very softly. And in the back, it's also going to be a lot darker, so I'm going to come in here and just come right up and meet what I just did. Now down here on the tip of his pectoral fin, it's going to be a little bit darker. So see how I've got a gradation there? All the same color, and I'm going to switch it up here in just a minute. But right now it's all the same color. So now I'm going to go with a darker gray. And this is the 90% cool gray. Because this fin is behind him, there's gonna be more water between this fin and the top fin. So it's gonna be a cooler gray and have more blue and the aqua color in it. It's also gonna be darker because it's in the shadow. So as I get it laid in there, I'm gonna go back in and reinforce that it is definitely darker. Just like that. Then I'm gonna come in with this same gray and I'm just gonna add a little bit of that to the edges here. So I also know that this part of his mouth is dark. Now I don't want to get crazy with it yet because I want to make sure that I get this part right. So I'm just going to go in and barely start to fill that in where I can kind of see where the dark is going to be, because I know I've got to bring in some blues and some yellows. These guys are very colorful, even though they read gray and white, they're very colorful. And then I know that I'm gonna come back in here with some more of this and darken this up just a little bit, so it's a little bit more solid. Gonna come pop some of this color kind of randomly in his fluke. Just like that. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit darker because this is going to be a shadow line, so I can go ahead and get brave and make this a little bit darker. Just like that. There we go. And you notice that I'm leaving a little bit of area where the line is, because I'm going to come in with some other colors. And I want to be able to blend that out. Okay, I'm going to come up here. Start darkening this up just a little bit more. It's gonna be pretty. Okay, so 90% cool gray. Where's that one go? Okay, so that one goes right here. Okay, so we've got 50% warm gray. So I want to grab my I'm going to grab this 70%. Let's see what this does. This is the 70% French gray, and I see a lot of yellow in that, so I want to see if I'm right. Indeed. Oh, that's the color. Okay, so all right, I'm going to come in here right on the other side of it and just lay a little bit of that color down. And all this is, y'all, is a very high value, which means has a lot of white in it. Brownish yellow. It's just, it looks gray. It almost looks contractor beige with a little more yellow in it. I know that there's a little bit of this going to be here in his sweet baby face. I also know I'm going to have to come over that with a blue. And that there's going to be some of it here, but definitely all around this white that we have already colored in a shade of gray, you're going to see this warmer tone. And I'm only using that nomenclature because the yellow does feel warm, but you see color relative to each other, so I typically don't use warm and cool because any warm or cool color could be warm or cool. So I'm also going to put a little bit of this in here on his pectoral fin. Then we're going to come back and add the pink purple hues that need to be in there. So down here, he's going to have some shadowing. So it's going to get a little bit darker. Just in through here. There's also going to be some reflective light on him down here. So we'll work on that in a little while. I know for a fact that we're going to have sunlight hitting him up here. We're going to have some sunny hitting back here. Exact same color coloring on the side of the pencil. That's why it's so important to keep your pencil sharp. And I'm just laying in a little, it's just like a road map. So I kind of have an idea of where I'm going with this. I'm going to come in here. I am just laying in some tones. That's all I'm doing here. Nothing exciting, nothing crazy, just laying in some tones. Okay, so, I am seeing periwinkle in the sweet baby dolphin here. So, where's my periwinkle? Where is my periwinkle? Okay, so the periwinkle's a little bit darker. So maybe we'll start with the blue violet lake. Let's see what this looks like. Well, it's perfect. I want a little more of a purple hue to this though. I'm seeing purple. I see a lot of purple in this. So I'm gonna grab a lilac color and I'm gonna come right on top of that. Still not quite what I want, is it? So let's just test it out. So if I do that, and then I grab this powder blue. Oh. Okay, well, that's pretty dang close to what I'm trying to come up with. So we're gonna say that that is your combo there. So we have a little bit of periwinkle, we have a little bit of that French warm, or that French gray. And the French gray isn't 100% what I'm looking for. I'm gonna switch back to a cool gray here. I'm gonna go 70% cool gray. That's not what I want either. Going to very, very, very lightly, and I mean very lightly, come in and add some of this cool gray, which is a blue gray. Right here in the stripe. I'm gonna also add it here. And you see how even though both of these colors are gray, and I'm not done with this front fin for sure. I will be adding some more color to it. So now that pectoral fin that's on the other side of him literally sits behind him, which is what we're going for. Okay, so I'm gonna start laying in some of this color up here. Very, very softly. And I'm not even trying to blend it. It's gonna look pretty messy for a sec. Because there's lots of other colors up here that I have to identify. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I have trouble working with the higher value colors. So this has been great practice for me for paintings. Because when I see something that's higher value, I automatically want it to be lighter in color, and I don't get all of the hues exactly right. And so this has been wonderful practice for me, because I'm laying this in right now, and I can see the blues in this and a touch of green. But I know that as we work our way to the back of the dolphin, there's going to be some maroony colors in this. I know that there's going to be some purpley maroon colors in this throughout the back of this dolphin. I know that, but they're going to read like grays. So they're gonna have, so you're at first gonna think they're gray, but all grays are the color of the rainbow as well. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, they all have grays. So I see those colors, and in order to make this look realistic, I have to find those colors in my colored pencil kits, and these are not colors that I typically would use, because I don't typically paint anything that's gray. So I know there's going to be a little bit of shadow here. There's going to be a little bit of shadows up here. Going to be a little bit of shadow back here as it kind of curves around. And see, I'm using the edge of the colored pencil. I'm not coloring directly with the tip. I'm just softly adding just layers and layers and layers of the darker grays as we get into this, because I know that that's going to be a shadow line there. There's going to be a little bit heavier shadow line right here where his pectoral fin meets his body. See how that works? There's going to be a little bit of a shadow here on this side, and this is all going to read like white, but that white, nothing is ever true white or true black. It's just not true. It just doesn't happen. So we have to add in all these other colors if we want it to look real. Now, you could come in here and paint daisies all over this thing and polka dots, and that's still art, and that's beautiful art as well. I just want to illustrate it as realistically as I can. That's always my first goal. And then if I do it again, it's as playfully as I can, because that stretches me. And I figure as long as you're always learning something, then you're doing what's right. I'm gonna grab this cool gray here, come in, start getting his eye together here. And you see, that just blends beautifully together. It also gets rid of all of your scratchy lines. when you come back in and push hard and kind of blend it all out, it always is remarkable to me how realistic it starts to look when you do that. So I know that this right here is a streak of color. And I'm gonna color it this with this gray first, and I'm using the 20% cool gray. But I know that I'm gonna have to come back in here in just a second and lay over the top of this some other colors. And these colored pencils are designed to layer on top of each other. So you're laying a transparent glaze over a transparent glaze over a transparent glaze of all of these different colors. You have to build up the color of this to get it to do what you want it to do. So here where I'm really blending it in so I can start to see where I'm at with my layers, I'm pushing pretty hard and I'm using the tip of the pencil. See that? Wow. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Very little work so far, and we're already starting to see the characteristic of the dolphin come forward. I'm pretty excited, y'all. This makes my heart happy when it starts to come together and I feel like, man, I think I know what I'm doing. Because sometimes I'm thinking, man, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is a beige sienna. So I want to put a little bit of this right here. And I want to put a little bit of this right here where that light is going to hit him. Look how cool that already looks. I'm seriously happy with this. Seriously happy with this so far. Which I know I sound like I'm shocked, but you know, I'm shooketh because sometimes it takes a hot minute to get this to where I want it to be. Now I'm gonna take this 90% cool gray, which is just a darker gray in your Hoo Hoo Hero, almost black, but not quite a black. We don't use the blacks. And the cool thing about your Hoo Hoo Heroes is that you have all the different colors of the rainbow represented as a darker gray in there. So I want you to grab your blue gray if you can find it, or your purple gray. And we're just gonna start laying in some color here. Very, very, very lightly. You see, I'm not very committed to this yet. I'm still a little nervous that I'm about getting this color correct. So I know that right up in here, it's definitely darker. So I'm just gonna keep making, I'm coloring with the side. I'm not gripping the pencil super tight so my hand doesn't get tired. I'm resting my hand on the page and I'm literally just using the side edge of this pencil. And I'm just making this section here in the center of it darker with this particular color. I'm just building up layers. That's all that I'm doing right now. Building up the layers. And not the entire outline that I've drawn out, just the darker part. See how that's starting to come together? Just this one color on top of all the other colors we've already laid down. Just coloring on the edge. Just coloring on the edge. That's all we're doing, just coloring on the edge. Now I'm gonna start to shorten the distance that I use this dark in, so I build up the center part of this a little bit darker. And a little bit darker, just right in through here. All right. So I'm feeling that. This needs to be green gray back here. See, as this tail, the flucus is further away from us, so there's more atmosphere back there. So, I'm gonna grab a slate, and I know you have a slate in there. I'm gonna make this a little bit different color. I'm gonna go right over the top of what we've already used and get that green color in there, because there's more water, there's more atmosphere. If this was a landscape, it would be air. So it's like that film, so the water is gonna change the color of what you're looking at. And that gives the illusion of distance. See how that already looks like it's further away? It's because I've used a greener color. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. I'm feeling like up here a little bit, we're gonna put some of this peach. I'm gonna start to blend some of these colors together. Because this is where some light is gonna be hitting. Oh, I don't want it right there. That's gonna be a shadow area. This right here though is definitely going to be a highlight area. I'm gonna come down here just a little bit and do just a touch of that. And then I'm gonna let that one go. So now I have this really super pale yellow cream color, which would be like your primary yellow in your hoo-hoos, or what color is this? Lemon yellow. You're just gonna take a super, look at all your yellows together and pick the lightest one you have. Because it'll do the exact same thing as this. It doesn't matter that they're all called different names. They'll do the exact same thing. Now notice that I'm pushing pretty hard on the side, but I'm still using the side because I just want to blend, and I just want to softly, I don't want any harsh lines. Just want to softly come in here, and I'm gonna come in here behind that peach that I just laid in there, and I'm gonna lay some of this yellow because this is where my lights are. Now, when you're using paint, you always do the light part last, you do your shadows first, but when you're using watercolor or colored pencils, they're transparent, so you always have to be very mindful of where all of your highlights are supposed to go, because you got to get those laid in first. You got to get those where they go. So I'm going to do just a little bit of this yellow up here, just because there's going to be a little bit of reflective light up here anyway. And I'm gonna color a little bit of this yellow. You see, you can barely see it. I don't even know, can you see it on the screen? I hope you can see it on the screen. Oh, I see it. I'm looking in the viewfinder right now. I can see it, so hopefully you can see that as well. But it just starts to make it look like we've done all this work to get him to look real, and all we're doing is just adding layers upon layers upon layers of color. I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight here, and I'm gonna add a little bit here. Now I'm gonna go over this with a different color because I don't want it to read this brightly yellow. I actually want this back here to be, one of them to be on the turquoises and one of them to be a lavender looking color. But I am gonna go ahead and go over, see what happens. Starting to go over this tail right now with this color, blending out all of those. So we started with a blue, gray, remember? And now I'm going over it with the yellow, and it's giving me that green that I want for the distance. So you can see now, because this is such a high value. Now look, This is super close, this is far away. Simple as that. If I would have used the exact same color and just colored the whole thing solid color gray, solid color white, it would be pretty, but it wouldn't look like this. So I'm coming in here and I'm just coloring over, because this color is called cream. It just has the hint of yellow in it, and it's making it look green, gray, a dark green gray on here. It's mixing beautifully with the colors that are already down. And so it's giving me the illusion of distance, which is exactly what I was going for. Okay, so I'm gonna put that one down. Well, you know what? I'm gonna come over here and add a little bit of this to the pectoral fin right here, right through the center. Maybe a couple of little jaggedy little squiggles here. Yep, and then maybe we'll add some of it right here on the edge, where I know there's gonna be a little bit more of a highlight. I know there is right there. So we get some of that yellow showing through. Oh, that's so pretty. I'm gonna add some yellow right here, because there would be some right there. And then we're gonna add a little bit of it here on his underbelly, just a touch. And we're gonna come back in and make that a little more green. So, okay, I'm happy. Are you happy? I'm happy so far. Okay, now, I have to find the right hue. So this is clay rose. This is gonna be, remember how I said that even though it's gray, that I see every color in the rainbow in these guys? Look at that. There it is. That is truly one of the colors that I see, and I see it in his, I see it a lot in his pectoral fin right here, the one on top, not the one in the back. The one in the back is just fine the way it is, but I see this, a little bit of this color here. I see this color here. So we're gonna go right over all of that dark blue gray that we put in there. We're gonna let it fan out so you can see some of that as it comes away from where it's darker. So it's almost like a little halo effect. And then I'm gonna add, there's some right here, definitely some right there, definitely some in here. And I feel like right there on his dorsal fin. Okay, a little bit back here. There's a little bit right there, just a little, not a lot, but a little. A little bit right there too. And see, once you start just kind of adding it to all the areas, it makes the whole feel of this more cohesive. So I feel like this is looking really good, the fluke is looking good, the front part of his face is looking really good. We're making this happen. I'm pretty stoked about this. We're making this happen. So I would like to come in and add a little bit here, a little bit of this cream color yellow, light, very, very, very light yellow, just right there, just a little. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of this peachy color here, and I'm gonna add some of that in here too. Just gonna go over some of this, just so it's a little bit brighter. That's all, a little more intense, a little more intense, because I'm gonna come over this anyway with another color here shortly. So I have this periwinkle, and I feel like the periwinkle needs to go right on top of all of this that we have already done. And then we're gonna come over it with a blending stick or a light, really super light color, one of the two. I'm gonna blend all of this out. periwinkle. Because I'm feeling like there's some periwinkle going on up in here. Gonna come back in and reinforce the shadow here where his eye sits down into his body. Gonna come over here and add some periwinkle to the top of this, and I'm probably gonna come back in and darken this up a bit because this could be darker. Then let some of that periwinkle just run right over the top of the body there. Now I want some of this periwinkle down here on the bottom because it's reflective light and it would be there. And I want a little bit of it here, just a little bit of a line of periwinkle. Got to be really careful that we don't make it look like just a line that I've drawn in there. Got to be really careful with that. Then I know for a fact that this is going to have that periwinkle effect. A little bit darker at the base where this connects here. And then it's going to be lighter as I pull it out. We're going to come over here with this periwinkle and we're just going to go over the top of all of this randomly. I don't want the whole thing perfect, and it's okay if you color outside the lines because we're going to do some fun stuff with the background anyway. Look at that. Just gonna kind of lightly come over. Still rough, still doesn't look finished, and that's okay. We're gonna get this handled. I'm gonna color a little bit darker here on his back with this periwinkle and just kind of start mixing those colors in. Look how pretty he is. It makes me happy. Makes me happy. I'm gonna add a little bit of this lavender in here, right in here. A little bit of the lavender in here. I need a shadow line there, which is this. This is the Don't worry, it looks messy right now, but we are gonna clean this up. I promise. It's gonna be beautiful when we're finished. So this is the warm gray. Let's get in here and get this colored correctly. Right over the top of all of those colors. This needs to be darker. Just keep coloring. Okay. Periwinkle. I'm gonna grab this blue. I see the blue here. I think there would be some of this blue right here on his body. Now I'm gonna sharpen I also feel like, I know this is crazy, but I feel like there's a little bit of this. Ooh, that's a little much. Okay, don't use the dahlia purple. That's too intense. It's too intense. Let's see if some of this is in there. Ooh, that's too much. That was the black raspberry. Too intense. You gotta be very, very careful with these colors because they are intense, in your face. Beautiful, beautiful colors, just exquisite colors, but they get crazy pretty quickly. They have the capability of getting way overpowering before you even know what hit you. So I'm just going in with a little bit of this purple. It's like a lavender color. It's called Parma Violet. I don't know what that is. I'm coming from the paint world, so some of the names of the colored pencils are beyond me. They don't match up in my world. I'm going to sharpen this right now. And then I'm gonna come in on the edge and blend it all together with this color. This is one of your super light blues. And I'm gonna have to come back in and darken some of this, obviously, because it's not all going to be as dark as I would like for it to be. And we're gonna use some paint for highlights here in just a minute, but we're gonna do the background first. It's going to be beautiful. I'm gonna blend out some of that. Oh yeah, see, that was intense at first, but that color just blended it right away. So, look how beautiful that is now. Now we just want to come in and go over the top and darken this up a little bit. I'm going to smooth out that shadow that I put down in there. Add a little bit of it there, a little bit of it there. Okay, how's that looking? Oh my goodness, looky there. Okay, so that's my first Dusky Dolphin. These guys are super cool too. I don't know if you know this about the Dusky, but if you get the book, you can read all kinds of cool things about them. But these guys are a small species of dolphin. They have a lifespan of around 20 years. They are incredibly playful, as most dolphins are. They're found in the waters of southern America, New Zealand, and southern Africa. Their favorite foods are squid, fish, and krill. Adult dusky dolphins can grow to a length of 7.5 feet, and they're considered to be small dolphins, y'all. can weigh up to 220 pounds and are seriously social animals and travel in pods of 100 to 500 individuals. Now, the really cool thing about this is that scientists have proven that dolphins give each other names just like we give each other names, and that they call each other by name. So all 100 to 500 of those individuals have a name that they are referred to by the entire group. Isn't that amazing? I find that to be incredibly amazing. So I want to come up here and add a little bit more of the slate bluey color. Just gonna add a little bit of it right there. Gonna get down to that point. Gonna add a little bit of it right there. So I'm just going in and just reinforcing the colors that we're using on the dolphin. And then we'll get into the background. Okay, so there's that. I actually have a white colored pencil in the kit. I'm going to come in and I am going to use my white colored pencil to really, really go over the parts that are, in fact, that read like white. They're not white. They're every color of the rainbow, just like the rest of the fish. So, this white is transparent like everything else, so it's going to allow all those other colors that we work so hard to lightly put into the dolphin. It's going to allow all those colors to just lay down in there, mix beautifully, blend beautifully, and accentuate what we've already done. Get in here to this area, get that blended out. This area right here, definitely white is necessary. This is where the light's hitting. This is necessary. The light's gonna hit up here, so that's necessary. And I'm gonna draw some little squigs. And look, I've just successfully added tons of light to this sweet little baby without having to fuss about it a whole lot. Look at that. We now have, because I've colored so hard on here, we now have some highlights and some water reflections on the dolphin. Look at that! Look at that! That makes my heart so happy. Oh my gosh, these guys are one of my favorites. These guys are absolutely one of my favorites. Okay, so I feel like this could be a little darker in here. So I'm gonna come in here and just add a little bit. I don't know, I might be done. I might really just need to stop. Sometimes you just gotta quit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta say, that's it. I did the best I could do. I did as much as I could. It looks really cool. I see all of the colors in this, so I'm happy about that. So sometimes you just gotta let it go. And I don't mean like build a snowman, let it go. I mean, you just gotta say enough is enough. You know, and if you want another shot at it, you can do another illustration. See, these colored pencils are so fantastic. They just hold layers upon layers of color, layers of color. am going to darken up his little face up here just a touch, because I know that that's a little bit darker. I know it is. And that literally just blends out. And you see, the trick is to being brave and using all the colors in the box, because every single thing is really every color of the rainbow. You just got to work your way around the rainbow. Got to work your way around the color wheel. And that's how it's done. Okay, so we're gonna come back in a minute. We're gonna highlight some of these things so that it kind of makes it a little more cohesive, a little more set. I'm gonna add just a touch more. I could keep working and working and working this, but I have to tell myself this is not for a client. This is for practice. All of these are for practice. Practice makes perfect. Well, no, practice makes you more consistent and better. Nothing in art is ever perfect. You gotta let go of that dream. It's never gonna be perfect. It's never going to be exactly. And I'm okay with that. Okay, so now for the fun part. Muted turquoise. So what if So what if, this is where we experiment. What if I outline it? And then color it in. Not gonna lie, y'all, these little splashies are a whole lot of fun, and that's a great color behind him because it does set behind him. So what happens if I add a little bit of the moss green from the Hoo Hoo Hero to that? Okay, I'm not sure that's the color that I want. What happens if I use the aqua? Okay, so we've got the turquoise, got the aqua, Okay, so that kind of blends into it, lends itself beautifully to doing that. So let's see, what's the next color? So sea green. So let's see if the sea green is a cool color too. Well, definitely, these are all my favorite colors. This is so much fun. Look how much fun that is. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. I'm seriously loving this. Okay, we've got 20 minutes left on this SD card, so we are going to kick it in gear here. I'm just gonna outline all of these things and then come in . Okay. So what if we use another shade? What if we use the turquoise now? Oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is. Oh, look how beautiful that looks against the dolphin. Oh my goodness, y'all, that's... This doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to go through this. I'm going to outline these probably with a white paint pen and outline the dolphin with a white paint pen because I think that would be fun on this particular coloring page. And see, the more I do to the background, the better the dolphin looks. I mean, he's really looking seriously. This is so much fun. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I have 18 minutes left. Okay. 18 minutes left of my crew is telling me that I have 18 minutes left. Okay, let's switch to another color. Which one is this? Ooh, dark green. No, 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 no. How about pale blue? Is pale blue gonna work? Yeah. I really don't want to do pale blue, so let's do, how about, I'm gonna grab a different brand. How about, well, I have no idea what the color this is because it doesn't tell me. Number 156 in the Faber-Castell. Let's see what this color looks like. Oh wow, that looks remarkably similar to this one, doesn't it? Yeah. I like these for the creaminess, but I think some of the other brands are less expensive and have the same pigment load. Okay. Okay, that didn't do anything for me, so let's pick up, how about cobalt teal, turquoise? How about that one? Oh my goodness. That one's awfully dark. So we're gonna do one strand of this because it's super dark. And it looked, we used this color on the Irrawaddy and it was perfect for that. But for this, it feels a little dark. And it's okay, I don't feel like I've ruined it. I'm just gonna put it in here on one strand. Color it in, maybe color a light blue over the top of it, lighten it up a little bit, and then pick a different color. Because I don't think any of this is wrong at this point, I just think that it's not the color I want. Let's go in here with this. Let's go right over the top of this. There we go. Mm, 14 minutes. Okay, how's that looking? Oh, that's not terrible. It's not terrible. Okay, so there's that. Then let's come in with some of this. This one is super creamy and I'm pushing super hard here and just making the lines because just to see how it colors. Again, you know, these are, I can't express enough how this is practice. So no matter what this turns out, even if it's not what you wanted, you still learned quite a bit from this. I learned quite a bit from this. And so I never look at it like anything is a failure when it comes to these pages because it's all just a learning exercise. It's just a practice exercise. And it's the second dolphin I've ever illustrated, and I think it's the best one I've done so far. I'm actually pretty excited about how the body looks on this dolphin. It's a win for me to be able to see those colors and figure out how to get the colors of the colored pencils to do what I could get it to do with paint. Because I am an acrylic artist. I started out as an oil painter. When I went to college, they didn't want us to use oil, so I had to switch to acrylic. And now I can, I'm very, very, very proficient with the acrylic, but the watercolor and the pencils are polar opposites of what I'm used to doing. Polar opposite. So let's do this one next. This is so much fun. This is truly so much fun. This is also a great way for you to see that some of your colors have more blue in them and some of your aquas have more green in them. This is a great way to start seriously engaging with your colors in your colored pencil set. I'm going to come back in here and darken this just a touch because I want it to be as vibrant and not scratchy looking. I don't prefer the scratchy look to it. I like it looking like it's blended out, like it's solid. And then what we'll do is we'll go in with some other colors and we'll kind of play with these a little bit. Look how much fun that is. I mean, seriously, this is so much fun. Yep. Look how beautiful that color is. I'm not gonna worry about that too much because like I said, I'm gonna come in. And I could have made all of these stand out. I could have highlighted and shadowed these lines here, but I don't want to take away from the work done to the dolphin because I'm really pleased with how the dolphin looks right now. So on one of the next pages that has the splatters, I might do a little extra work on the splatters, give the splatters highlights, make them look like they're you know, strings of paint literally sitting on the paper. I can shadow them, put a drop shadow on them, make them look totally realistic. But right now, I'm just focusing on finishing this up. Oh no, I don't remember which one is this. Is it this one? Yes, it is. I'm focused on finishing up this background here so I can get my pens out and do all the graphic illustration highlights that I like so much. Oh, 9 minutes. Oh, we're gonna make it, I don't know. I have one more color in the arsenal that I don't think I've used on the background yet. I know that casts a shadow. Oh, look how cute that is. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the only thing I'm not real happy with is this one right here, but whatever. That one should have been last. But it's a little too late now, right? And see, this has a beautiful barrel, but I'm not sure I like this color with this. Although I think it's okay. It's less intense. So it'll sit over here on the side to itself. Seven minutes. gonna go over the top of that with the turquoise color here. Get rid of all the lines, the scratchy parts that I can see through, because I'm not a fan of those. Same down here. Let's see if we can get rid of these. I'm just gonna use this as a blendy stick. It's gonna alter the color a bit, which I'm fine with. Okay, so now, what if we come in with this and just go right over the top of that with this one? Kind of smooth it all out. Go over the top of this with this lighter blue here, so it's not so in your face that it's different. Okay, I have 6 minutes to outline this. So I've gone in off camera because we're trying to save time, and I've gone in with a Boston paint pen and just went around the edges of the little splashies there. And now I am going around the dolphin with a white paint pen. And this one's a little stinky. This one's oil-based. You don't have to use an oil base. I'm just using what I have. And it's okay if your colors blend into the background, if it kind of makes it not white and it's a little more blue, and that's all right. I just want to see what it looks like done this way. It's hard for me to do this with precision because they don't want me to move the paper out of the frame. So I feel like what I would do is outline it, let it dry, and then go back in. Maybe outline it with another color behind that, but definitely go over the white one more time so it's crisper, because it is definitely going to pick up, it's picking up the color underneath. Because even though we're not using watercolor pencils for this, they do semi-activate when they get wet. See how it's looking more white as I come over the top of it for the second time? So I gotta let that dry. Come back in. I know we have some highlighties here. And we're just gonna kind of touch with the paint pen. I've got some highlight color here, like where it might be a little bit wet. Got a little bit of color there. You don't want to do a ton of this. You just want to do just enough to give him some life. Ugh, I'm sticking. Look. Ugh, you gotta be careful. You gotta be very careful. These pens, these oil-based pens, while they're spectacular for highlighting and finishing up your work, they're unforgiving. So if you get the paint somewhere on your hand and then you set your hand down, you're gonna deposit that paint elsewhere and you're not gonna be able to get that off. Okay. So there you have it. Oh, this has definitely got to be darker right here. This has to be darker. I see that. That needs to be darker. Okay, so there's your Dusky Dolphin. This has been another episode of Coloring Passports, finishing up the Dusky Dolphin with here and Out of the Dolphin book. I'm Real, and I'll see you on the next page.